So Dr. Jackie releases a statement, and a former patient of hers came out with her story, and it is not looking good. Is y'all ready to talk about it? Because this is important. Let's juice.
Come on, Blaze.
It's the beef for me.
Wah 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo Doll TV, back with a quick little juice or whatever the case may be. And this is very important for all black women. I need all black women to report to this post because this is something we need to discuss. Now, in case you guys were living under a rock for the past couple days, Dr. Jackie released a very problematic statement in regards to black women. She basically said, hey, black women, you need to be your own health advocate because basically no one else will. But then she turned right around and also said, black women cry wolf. Mind you, she just did a interview with the VP, Kamala Harris, speaking on the disparities between black women and other women in regards to safety, birth, and etc. So it was kind of like weird for people because they were like, hold up, Dr. Jackie, this not making no sense. It's like, are you advocating for us or no? Because you're telling us to be our own advocates, but then you're saying we cry wolf. So if we're our own advocate, and you think we're crying wolf and many doctors like you, then what is the point? How is being our own advocate working in our favor when you guys are basically saying that we're lying about our pain level? Mind you, just FYI for the people in the back, that is the number one reason why black women suffer the most in the hospitals, and a lot of them don't come home. It's because when they express levels of pain, they are not believed. Now, this has been something historically done by clear people in the past, and now it's coming to a head that it's been done by black people as well. And I'm gonna just say this, my worst experience when I gave birth to my daughter, even though I was 19, my worst experience in the hospital was with a black nurse, and she was just horrible to me. And I never understood till this day why this lady was just so mean to me. But again, that was just the nurse. I had a clear doctor. But ultimately, a lot of women are coming out with the same stories that, hey, they're being basically forced into C-sections, which is one of the main reasons why black women are not leaving the hospital, if you understand what I'm saying. So anywho, Dr. Jackie has always been condescending to me. She has never really been one of the girls that I felt like, I would go to her. I've always felt like I could identify more with Dr. Simone if I had to choose between the two, because at least Dr. Simone felt more down to earth and she felt more genuine. Again, I don't know any of the ladies, but I do know Dr. Jackie has always had this snooty, nose down, look at people like ew. And then she's a celebrity doctor. Like, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't take people like the likes of you and I, Anyways, let's get into this statement after she received all this backlash, because Twitter has been going up, TikTok has been dragging, Instagram has been posting, and she is not used to this. Dr. Jackie has always been put on this pedestal by people, even if we subconsciously did it. She's been put on this pedestal because she's been like the rich auntie or something like that. But now we're seeing her true colors that were already there. And you know what? Like me and others, a lot of people didn't realize because she rides so low under the radar. Baby, let me tell you something. This is changing today. So anyway, she received a whole bunch of backlash and she released a statement. Now, you would think that she would come out and say, hey, to black women, my statements were insensitive. Anything that I said that offended you, I am sorry. It was not my intent. Like, this is what a real professional would say, or someone who has a heart, But it seems like Dr. Jackie is the new Tin Man, okay? So let's get into this statement, child. So Dr. Jackie released this statement, and it's so condescending and poorly written, Dr. Jackie. You're a doctor, but I guess you're not a doctor of writing, because, girl, bye. Anyways, so girl, let's get into it. Dr. Jackie says, recently, a clip from a nearly 2-hour video was taken out of context to make it appear that I somehow take lightly what I have advocated for concerning the devastating problem facing Black maternal health crisis. It has been my life's work to highlight and attempt to rectify the issues that devastatingly impact Black maternal mothers versus our counterparts. As a physician, I educate my patients every day to be their own best health advocate as we continue to face medical mistreatment and gaslighting. That's what you were doing, Dr. Jackie. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. My intention with the broader conversation was to ensure patients enter their pregnancies armed with information and tools to effectively communicate their needs with their doctors to ensure a positive outcome. The reason I became an OBGYN is because growing up, I saw such a lack of diversity amongst medical professionals and was determined to be a part of that change. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I will continue to fight for the lives of Black mothers and babies. Girl, what is this? Signed Dr. Jacqueline Waters. Shall hold on. Walters, girl, it don't matter. Let's get into it. Girl, let me say this about Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie, I don't know if you grew up with a level of privilege. I don't know if you later got this down the line once you became a physician and, you rolled in the same circles with certain people and touched shoulders. Maybe it was when you became a celebrity doctor. I don't know what got to you or if this is who you are. And I'm starting to believe the longer this plays out, this is who you are. But I will say this, Dr. Jackie, that statement was written in such poor taste. There was no sign of sympathy, empathy, compassion, or anything for any woman that has experienced anything during child pregnancy or childbirth. And it's so horrible that this is coming from a Black woman, but this has to be highlighted because like I tell you guys in my videos and in my lives, there is a class system that has been put in place. And a lot of Black people think it only exists between the clear people and the Black people. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. There is a class system within a class system within a class system within a class system. And let me tell you this, it is my belief that Dr. Jackie feels as if she is in a class above regular Black women. This is what I believe. I could be wrong. I also believe Dr. Jackie may hold some resentment for women who can reproduce because she cannot. Because I do not understand this obsession with the practice, yet such lack of empathy and care for the patient. Like, to me, the two is not correlating. It's no different if you have a passion for music. If you have a passion for music, not only do you create music, but you cherish your creations. You care for your words and your lyrics and your meanings and everything. It's no different from anybody in any other profession. When you have a passion for something, you care for that passion. Dr. Jackie is displaying a large passion for the field of practice, but somehow, somewhere, there's a disconnect between her and the patient. And this is very, very problematic. Too many Black women are not coming home from the hospital from this. Like I said in one of my prior videos, check out my last video. I put up the stat. Per 100,000 Black women, 69.1 of them will not leave the hospital with their babies. And a lot of you guys may not think that is a lot, but that is huge. Huge. In the percentage any other doggone community of women in America. And we are thinking this is all the clear people that's dealing with this, but it turns out these are Black people doing this as well, because they get into these professions and they get into these class systems and they develop this classist mindset and this elitist mindset that makes them believe that they are better, that they have something, they're smarter, they're everything better. And it's the farthest thing from the truth. Dr. Jackie, being a Black physician and having the attitude and the stance that she has, further solidifies Black women that being a so-called advocate for yourself will fall on deaf ears of a person who don't believe in your pain tolerance. Do you guys remember, this has been historically practiced on Black women, from the beginning. This is not anything new. But to see it from a Black person, although it is eye-opening, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, it hurts. It really hurts, because it's just so many Black people feel a sigh of relief when they see a Black physician come through the door. And to see that this is sometimes, not all, but this is sometimes the mindset of said Black physician, I mean, it's super scary. It's actually horrifying, to be completely honest, because it's almost like, who do I go to? Who do I get to care for me? But like I said, you guys, y'all need to start looking at doulas, and y'all need to start looking at midwives. Typically black ones with a large history of experience, if you had to ask me, but that's just where I'm going with it. Neither here nor there. Let's get into the second portion of this video. So Dr. Jackie's former patient, one of her former patients, came out, and she had a story that was very similar to mine. And I'm pretty sure this story is going to be similar to a lot of black women. I keep telling y'all, and I'm going to discuss this on my live today at 5 p.m., that C-sections is the number one, if not the top, one of the top leading causes for black women not leaving the hospital. This lady is going to detail her experience with Dr. Jackie and take very close interest in her talking about how at the very last minute they induced her and then basically told her she needed a C-section. We gonna get into some things, y'all. Is y'all ready to talk about it? Let's hear this lady's story so we can come back for some commentary.
Y'all, I'm seeing Dr. Jackie all over my For You page in regards to the comments she made about black women, and I just want to give my 2 cents. I chose Dr. Jackie because, she's in the Atlanta area. She was a black female doctor, and knowing like the high mortality rate with black women during childbirth, I wanted to feel protected, so I wanted a black doctor. But honestly, this was the most traumatic birthing experience I could have possibly thought I would have went through. To make a long story short, the day I turned 38 weeks, Dr. Jackie decided to induce me because they thought my baby had a low birth weight, meaning they thought he only weighed like 5 pounds. I went to the hospital that day not knowing that I was going to be spending the next 3 days in labor in excruciating pain. And not only was it painful for me, it was painful for my child because his heart rate was going up and down, up and down, up and down, with them trying to exhaust every option they could to get him out of me. So when all their methods failed, they ended up telling me that I had to have an emergency C-section because his heart rate had got too low. And y'all, when I tell y'all I was bawling from the moment they told me to the moment they put me on a table, crying, couldn't talk, like I couldn't even open my mouth. After that was all said and done, weighed him, he ended up being 6 pounds, 8 ounces, meaning he didn't have a low birth weight and he could have stayed in me until he was ready to come out. Mind you, in those 3 days, I didn't see Dr. Jackie one time. Not one time did I see her. And I had my baby during COVID, so it was only one person allowed in the delivery room, me and my mom, and I was scared out of my mind, okay? Scared. And then my baby, like now he has like developmental delays, and I don't know if I should associate that with them inducing me, because personally I feel like if they let him cook a little bit longer, he would have been fine. But who am I to say that's correlated? But that's just my story and I'm sticking to it, and I will not be going back to her.
Okay, so you guys just heard that story, and I just first of all want to say thank God her baby came out fine, and he's healthy. And she's saying that he may have some, some kind of things going on with him, but she's not sure if she can correlate it to the C-section. But notice 2 things. Number one, they induced her, or Dr. Jackie suggested that she's induced simply because of the so-called low birth weight, even though the baby came out 6 pounds, 8 or 9 ounces. That's not a low birth weight. That's actually normal. And then at the last minute in the 4th quarter, it's an emergency C-section. This is extremely common for black women in the hospitals. Extremely common. And what they're not telling you is this is what's ultimately leading to the doggone issues with black women and not leaving the hospital. They're not telling you that. And this is a black doctor we're talking about. This is not a clear woman, a clear man, a foreign person. This is a American homegrown black woman who did this to this lady. And this is another thing too. Like she said, I didn't even see Dr. Jackie because she was probably somewhere around there carrying her ass over there messing with the celebrities. Because we not taking it seriously as the people who got status and clout. Girl, anyway, I got some more for y'all because y'all think this a game. I want to share with you guys 2 stories of women who were unalived after C-sections. Take a look at this and we're going to come back for final commentary.
That was my heart. She made me so proud. And now I don't have that in my life anymore. Now I have to help raise 3 kids that don't have a mother. I miss my daughter so much. And I need to know what happened to my daughter.
With tears in her eyes and her daughter's picture on her shirt, Deneen Witherspoon is crying out for answers in the death of her daughter, Christine Fields, who died after giving birth at NYC Health and Hospital's Woodhull earlier this month.
My daughter was healthy. My daughter was 30. My daughter did everything right. She had a birthing plan. Nothing was followed according to her birthing plan. And now I don't have my child, and this just hurts my heart so much.
The family say Fields had to have an emergency C-section in the late hours of November 12th, ultimately causing her to go into cardiac arrest, according to a lawsuit served to the hospital Thursday.
Her baby's heart rate drops and there's fetal distress. She's rushed in for a C-section, and we are investigating and have learned from the ME's office that there was pooling blood.
Fields leaves behind 3 children, including her newborn baby, and her fiancé, Jose Perez, who has spent the last 2 weeks trying to piece together a nightmare.
We just thought it was going to be a regular birth, like our first, second kid,
The tragedy comes 3 years after the death of Shaisha Washington, who also died during an emergency C-section at the hospital in 2020. City data from 2019 shows that Black mothers across the 5 boroughs are more than twice as likely to die giving birth than white mothers. A spokesperson for the hospital says the health and safety of our patients is our highest priority, and we express our sincere condolences to those affected by this tragic loss. NYC Health and Hospitals has a steadfast commitment to providing quality, dignified, culturally responsive care to all New Yorkers without exception.
My wife would be here with her boys if it wasn't for the color of her skin.
A heartbroken husband filing suit against Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, claiming his wife died hours after childbirth due to the culture of racism at the renowned hospital.
There's no doubt in my mind that my wife would be here today and be here Sunday celebrating Mother's Day with her boys if she was a Caucasian woman.
Kira Dixon Johnson bled to death 12 hours after having a scheduled C-section to deliver the couple's second son.
The reality is that on April 12th of 2016, when we walked into Cedars-Sinai Hospital for what we expected to be the happiest day of our lives, the greatest risk factor that Kira Dixon Johnson faced was racism.
Because for me, if I can prevent one other father from having to have the conversations with their children I have to have with mine, then all of this work is worth it. I refuse for what happened to Kira to continue to be the norm in our country. I refuse to let what happened to Kira and her sacrifice and the sacrifice of so many other women be in vain. I refuse for this to still be a problem when my kids are ready to have kids. I refuse. And it can't happen and it won't happen. Not on my watch.
All right, so y'all just heard those horror stories, and number one, my heart goes out to those women and other Black women like them, and I want to be the voice for the women who don't leave the hospital. But ultimately, as you can see, it is a race issue that we are now facing with our own people. Also, not only is it a race issue, Black women are not taken seriously when they talk about their levels of pain, and they're also being forced and coerced into C-sections, and most of the time, they really don't need them. Now, the guy Kira, or the woman Kira, the last person I shared, she had a scheduled C-section, and I'm seeing that that's becoming a trend. You guys, they are using you to operate on you, and they make more money off of it. Dr. Jackie is no different because she literally gave the same experience to another Black woman. And this is why this conversation is so important. It doesn't matter if you advocate for yourself or not. It doesn't matter if you get extended Medicaid for 12 months from Kamala Harris. It does not matter. The problem is happening within the hospital with these doctors. Rather it's a C-section or a natural birth. Because I didn't have a C-section and I struggle with my episiotomy 21 years later. So I'm going to close this out with this. Number one, I'm going to leave you with a Black sister who's going to give us some tips for women who are going into C-section and what to look look for. Also, number 2, I'm going to say this, Dr. Jackie, you are a problem. And doctors like Dr. Jackie, it doesn't matter what race they are, is the number 1 reason why a lot of us are not leaving the hospital. You guys, drop down in the comments. I would love to hear some of your experiences and what you think about this video. Take a listen to this sister as she give you some tips if you get into a C-section, if you're going to an emergency C-section or anything. And I just want to say this, it's your body, your choice, but I would not suggest any woman, unless it's a dire situation, schedule a C-section. I think that is asinine. That is an elective surgery that you may not even need to have. And get educated on why you would need a C-section, because the fact of the matter is you may not even need it. Listen, y'all, black women, we got to be safe. Like I said, I'm going to leave y'all with this story, or with this lady telling y'all what to look for and how to be safe during this process. And please protect yourself at all times and fight for yourself. I don't care what color the doctor is. Fight for yourself. Like I said, drop down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I can't wait to hear from y'all. See y'all later. Bye.
If you're a black woman and you're going to have a C-section delivery, you need to hear this. I had a C-section 2 years ago, and it's come to my attention that a lot of us black women do not share about our birthing experiences, whether it was natural or C-section. But what I will say is if you did have a C-section delivery and you weren't planning to have a C-section delivery, there seems to be a little shame attached to it that we feel. I honestly think that adds to the emotional distress that we go through postpartum, because what you expected is not what the outcome was. Nevertheless, let me tell you about some things that you need to look for after a C-section that they will not tell black women about. Let me know that some of these things might occur even if you have a vaginal birth. Number 1, after you give birth to that baby, you might be on that table shaking like a stripper, probably because of the pain meds, the room is cold, hormonal changes, but be prepared to be Harlem shaking on that table. Number 2, if you had pain meds, like an epidural or something like that, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to throw up after giving birth. Number 3, you really need to monitor your blood pressure, because chances are if you had a C-section, your blood pressure might be a little elevated after you give birth, which means look out for headaches, if you see spots floating around, all of that, anything that's not normal to you. Number 4, if you did take any pain meds, narcotics, you might be constipated for a week after giving birth. Make sure you get a stool softener, you drink a lot of water and high fiber foods. There is no constipation like narcotic constipation, trust me. Number 5, even though you are recovering, they will tell you to keep walking so that you make sure you don't get any blood clots in your legs. But then also make sure you get a pair of TED hose from Amazon. They are compression stocking. Number 6, you might be bleeding for up to 6 weeks after giving birth. So make sure you keep those, I call them puppy pads, and those gauzy panties around. Number 7, my mom, I know that you're used to doing everything on your own, but please lean into your support system. If you need to take a shower, if you need to get a nap, if you just need a break, lean into that support system, because they are going to be critical in this moment. Number 8 is especially for those who were going and planning to have a vaginal birth and ended up with a C-section birth. But do not feel guilty about how things went. If there is nothing that you could have done that would have changed the outcome, know that you did the best that you could, and your baby is here and healthy, and you are healthy too. Do not try to dwell on those feelings, because you might get caught up in those feelings. Feel those feelings. Don't try to, push them away. Acknowledge those feelings, feel them, and process them if you have to with a therapist or whatever. But you did the best that you could, my mom. Number 9, your body is beautiful. You gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby. Do not worry about that little pudge that forms. It can go away with time, but give yourself some grace. And number 10, congratulations. Enjoy your beautiful baby.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.